We're in the Textiles Conservation Studio at Hampton Court Palace, and we're looking at Queen Victoria's clothing. Queen Victoria reigned from 1837 until 1901. She married Prince Albert in 1840, and they had 9 children. After Prince Albert's death in 1861, Victoria was in mourning for the next 40 years. This is a bodice she wore in the 1870s, when she was in her 50s. It's very rare because very little clothing from this time of her life survives.
When an object comes into the collection, the conservation team's job is to assess its condition. And in this case, this bodice was in very, very good condition. This bodice is made out of a silk, and it also has some silk lace trim at the neckline. It's also got these lovely silk tassels and this beautiful beading work here.
In the first year, a widow would have worn entirely black clothes. After at least a year and a day, she might have moved on to second stage mourning, which would have had more embellishments. Some widows might then eventually return to wearing normal clothes, but Victoria chose to stay in mourning for the rest of her life.
With silk like this object, we'll be looking for wear or splits within the fabric. And then another area that we looked at were the tassels at the bottom. When this came to us, they were quite tangled, so we spent quite a lot of time untangling them and then maintaining that within its storage and then during display.
This cape was probably worn by Queen Victoria in the 1870s. It's quite unusual and rare, and I don't know of any other pieces of her surviving clothing like it.
This beautiful Queen Victoria cape entered our collection in 2018. It is a silk cream ground fabric with a silk lace net trim.
We associate Victoria and mourning clothes with black, but white was a traditional colour of mourning as well. We have photographs of her wearing white capes like these to take picnics in the grounds of Balmoral.
The main areas of condition issues with this cape are in the button areas. If you look very closely, you can see that they've been covered in a conservation nylon net, and this is really just to protect it whilst we're putting the object on display. There's also a stain on the front of the cape, which looks like it could be tea. We could look to try to remove this stain. However, as it could be evidence of use, it's something that we may want to keep, and that's a discussion to have with our curator.
This dress shows the iconic look we associate with Queen Victoria. It dates to about 1898, when she was about 79 years old.
The lace at the neckline, you can see this is the original lace here with a beautiful ribbon that runs through the centre. This ribbon is now a little bit loose, so I would recommend we would do a retreatment of this area and enclose this lace trim. We will look at what materials can both simulate what is there existing, but also protect that very fragile area. So we'll look at things like a silk crepeline or maybe a silk net.
This dress also shows the practical pockets that Victoria liked. So we've got the pockets at the front of the bodice, but also pockets in the skirt here. These features show how she favoured practicality, but if you look at the exquisite details, this is still clothing fit for a queen.
Working on someone's clothes is quite personal, and you feel you really get to know them, so it has been an honour to work on Queen Victoria's clothes and ensure that the public can enjoy them.